everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Get Real with Jack and Cindy. We're going to talk design today. I'm Cindy Morrison.
And I'm Jack Wallace. We're glad you're here. Thanks for joining us.
You want to introduce our guests today?
Why don't
Our
you introduce
esteemed
yourself?
guests.
Oh, okay. I'm Kent Oellien,
Yeah.
Design here in Tulsa.
Kent Oellien. So Kent has been around doing design work for quite a while.
He started when he was 3. Go ahead.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We have
Oh, I know.
some similar stuff that we'll talk about through the day, kind of crossing over in our careers. But
Yeah.
So it's you've been a part of Tulsa's culture for many, many, many years, and brought a lot of great design to Tulsa and the surrounding
Yes.
areas. And
Oh, I appreciate that.
So we just
Very
want
much
to
so.
get some information, knowledge from your brain, and just ask you some questions about your thoughts and tricks and secrets. And
Oh, I'm not telling secrets.
okay,
Not till we make
Not
it.
we'll
today.
get them out of you.
Not
Don't
today.
worry.
That's for another one.
We'll keep this family oriented.
Yes.
Okay, let's.
Well,
Let's-
one of the things that I love about your designs, and sometimes you can walk in and you go, oh, that's so-and-so's design, or that's so-and-so's house, or that's so-and-so's construction. Yours really tell the tale of the building that you're working with, whether it's a house, whether it's commercial, whether it's a church, whatever it is. You seem to really find the essence and bring out the best in that
Well,
property.
I appreciate that. You know, what I personally love about design is it's just creativity.
Mhm.
And everything starts from nothing. And so there's no reason why it shouldn't be special to that project. And every project has its own sort of energy to it, and the clients have that kind of energy. And so, and you're creating something for them. You're creating
Mhm.
something for even the commercial or the restaurant, or, and I just get a kick out of doing it.
Mhm.
I seldom ever repeat things. I think I've repeated a bed twice.
In all the years, just
Yes.
twice. That's pretty amazing.
But it's a fabulous bed.
Oh yeah,
It's worth
sounds like
repeating.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much.
Yes.
It's the opportunity to create something from nothing,
Yes.
and I like that, and you get to work with some amazing people. You get to be part of their life. And the hardest part for me in the project is you get so involved with somebody and you get to know them so well, and then you're just vanished. The project's over with.
No.
And so I always go through a little bit of withdrawal from it,
I could see, because I know of a project that you did that was a year, at least a year, maybe a year and a half, and you really were in their lives. When we have a client, sometimes we may be done in a month or 6 months or a year, but you're there all the time in their lives, creating this palette.
Thank you. And you definitely keep know people. And so I keep all of that just separated, because you get very close with people and their lives and how they live and maybe challenges or whatever. And so it's really a fabulous opportunity.
I think it's also very similar, like having done both. It's very similar in the respect that people have to be honest. I always say, if you're not honest with me in the beginning, it's like therapy. You're not going to like the end. Like, you have to really be honest. This is how we live. This is what we want. This is how we see things. This is not even like, you can tell me kind of how you want to live, but also tell me how you do live.
We have that in real estate all the
Yeah,
time. They'll be like, we want these 4 things, and then they buy this. It's nothing like what they told you.
But that usually in that, there's a thing called buyers are liars. As a design person, I don't really believe that, because what I think they may be lying, but what they're really doing is they're lying to themselves of what they fantasize they want to live like.
Mm-hmm.
But they always go back to what they really want, like how they live. Like, if you eat dinner in your bedroom with your 3 dogs on your bed every night, we can make your living room really pretty, because you're probably not going to hang out in your living room naked where you eat your dinner and watch. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like,
That's
that's
true.
how you live. So
Right.
Tell me how you live, and then we'll work around that. But the one thing I wanted to get onto too, with this being real estate on the podcast, I think what you were talking about is very important. There's decorating and there is staging.
Mm-hmm.
And staging is making it more generic where other people can kind of see, generally living in the house. Decorating is more like what you're talking about, or designing a house for a client for their own particular style, taste, wants, and needs, right?
Yeah, because you want it to be a reflection, like of this or of this guy here, and not them over there. It is very personal that way.
And so when you're staging, you want it to be where them over there can see themselves in it.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times what I hate is that, like, I will go into houses that I've actually done design work and say, we need to change these things now because this is so specific to what you liked, but to get the general public to come in and want this, we made it do it. Or you just say, you know what, this is so fabulous and it is so unique that somebody else is going to resonate with. Like you kind of have to figure out which one's going to work. If it's so unique and so interesting, you don't want to mess that up, and you want to wait for the right person to adopt it.
Well, I agree totally with that, and I think in many cases, nothing against with you guys, because you're walking into a property. But like when we sold our last house, I mean, it was by appointment. We always got Jack out of our corgi out of the house and picked up his bowls and put them out in the garage and all that kind of stuff. But I wanted.
So many terms to that. Sorry, I digress.
But I always wanted to set the house.
Yeah.
I always wanted to set the lighting on the house. I wanted them to walk in and feel the house, how it's supposed to look.
An experience.
And not flipping around light switches or looking for stuff, and because that's what the house is it's an experience. And I think that's often truly the challenge, even with some of these very specific taste wise, is that it's just not shown how it should be shown. Does that make, what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
And it's hard when you've got a lot of different people coming into the house and they're looking for stuff, but it's got to be presented.
I had a listing once that I kept showing during the day and it wasn't selling. And so then I thought, this house looks so amazing at the golden hour, like that dusk time. And so I kind of finagled the showing and said, could you do it at this time instead of, and they were like, well, we can, because I knew they were going to be showing to that period. And they went in and bought it like that, because at that time, the way the light hit everything and everything they've done, it just felt like this incredible property. It was pretty during the day too, but it was really special at that time. And I think every property has its feel and it has its time and its space and its energy.
Well, and there's layers, there's layers to a project. There's layers as it goes in, lighting wise, finishes, all that stuff. So it has to be presented that way. And I think that's no disrespect to anyone in this business, what we're talking about, but sometimes we keep things too general.
I agree.
Sterile.
And then it just starts looking like.
Well, now we have to be careful because, like, I go into properties with younger buyers now, and I keep my mouth shut because the things that we look at and go, oh my God, you got to get, like, that is so 25 years ago. And they're like, oh, that's like my Mima's house. I want it. I'm not going to change anything. I'm like, if I had to open my mouth, we would have been in trouble. Like,
mauve and hunter green florals everywhere.
They love it. Yeah. The dark paneling. I mean, all those things. And God love them. Good for them. It's great. But even light fixtures that you go, oh my God, the brass and glass and stuff. But they're like, that's so cool.
Marlo is all back into Twa. And it's funny because her nursery, her little girl room, all of that was the pink and white Twa. And that's how you say it, right? Twa. Oh, you do say the L.
Yes.
Okay. Then I've said it wrong my entire life. So Twa. Anyway, she got to an age where she was like, oh, this is horrible. And so we changed everything. Well, now she's back at 23. She's like, oh, look what I discovered. Oh, really? Did you? Okay.
But it is kind of cool too, because I've always loved, my house is so eclectic. I have stuff from Africa. I have stuff from France. I have stuff.
Same with mine, though. Yeah, I'm very eclectic.
No, I did end up going with the white walls because I just wanted to kind of the gallery look. But I like lots of different things. I like the best of all the different things. To me, what's the best And so, like, for me, a theme doesn't work real well for me.
Well, and your life isn't a theme.
No.
Your life isn't a theme. Your life is a collection.
And a
I always,
diary.
and I've talked about this with other people in that it should look like a collection. You are made up of all of these different ingredients, and it should travel with you, and pieces can take on a new life, an architect that was in the office, he had a secretary that he had bought in Spain, and he sold it to some friends to put like in their Airbnb thing. And it was a fabulous piece. And he said, well, it just doesn't go in our modern house. I'm like, I can't follow you on that.
It's a piece of art. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Just let it be an object.
Yeah.
Just let it be that in the room. And so I really do feel like we have so forgotten to keep certain things. And it doesn't just mean family, but just pieces that can evolve, different finishes, all that kind of stuff.
I have a friend that came over one time. He said, you know what I love about being in your house is if I say, what is that? You have like a whole story about where you got it, what it is. Well, he goes, people like might like go Home Depot, Home Goods, Lowe's. He goes, you're like, well, this was a piece that I was given by blah, blah, blah. And I mean, but it is like because I keep those things because they are special. I still have some of the other stuff too. But, a lot of my favorite things are things that, I got when I worked for Charles 35 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Like he had soapstone carvings from Africa in the frame.
There's Country French has a very wonderful place in my heart. And if you go back to Europe, you're going to see a lot of Country French.
Oh yeah.
It's timeless.
I think we're cycling a little bit. Like I think, we went Country French and then it became so out of style and it went into the heavy Mediterranean and then the heavy Mediterranean went so out.
Yeah.
And then we went completely to modern. That now I feel like we're kind of getting into like the mix of modern Country French is sort of kind of where
mine's transitional is kind of how I look at
and we
my
have
home.
so many Country French houses and they really look good when you kind of modernize them.
Oh yeah.
They haven't given them a new life.
And because I feel like that Country French became Italian. I mean, it was just it was not even the roof lines. It was the finish on the walls outside, so it was all. And then it got really heavy. It got heavy and dark.
Charles used to go, when did it become Masio's? Because everyone's house looks like Masio's now.
Is that what he said? Oh my gosh. Well, several years ago, we were going to sell the house.
We did.
We were going to sell the house and we were looking at building with a builder. And we've been working on it for a while. It's with another agent. And I like our house a lot. It's got a style to it. And she said, we need to have it staged. And I was like, oh, do you know who you're talking to?
Yeah. And anybody who's coming to look at your house is not going to want it staged. Yeah. They want to see the experience. And does that flow for them?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, but I have two arguments to that point.
Okay, I'm ready.
I will say that it's kind of nice to have had an agent who would say, this is an option for you to think about. Because again, if you were to think in terms of just general public blank slating it, that'd be one way to do it. And then the other is to let it go. So maybe she was kind of giving you, now sounds like she was just telling you, but I would say a good agent could say, I love this. I think you will find someone to adopt it who will love it as much, but you might have better luck getting a more general reach if you did this.
Oh yeah, I was being sensitive.
Yeah. Well, but it's our home.
And rightfully so. But as realtors, sometimes we have to be there's A and B, and I think so many times realtors just come in and bulldoze instead of go.
I tiptoe. I really, I'll tell you what I think, but I also don't want to.
It's like we're going through their panty drawer. I mean, like you know, it's so personal. It is for design too. I mean, you have to be so careful with design because it's like you can't go, oh, we got to fix this awful. That was my grandmother's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another agent. I mean, when we sold the first house, another agent came in and said, I mean, I like him a lot. And he said, we need to change this dining room table. It's taking up too much space. Well, we just put that table in. I just had it built. But it's okay because we still had the other table.
Right.
So like, okay. So we put it in, and yes, it felt more generous in the room, and I understood that. I understood all that. So
I'll never forget when I was first working for Charles, and we went on a job, and he was going to this woman's house, and he goes, "Well, I think we should get rid of that. It doesn't work in the room." She goes, "Well, that was my mother's," and well, I think we should. Well, that was my grandmother's, and that after like, Cindy goes, they're dead. They're dead. Let it go.
But now we've been talking about incorporating those details into your home.
I love Bombay.
I'm not
chess.
saying he was
Yeah.
right, but it
I-
was a good thing to say.
I love Bombay chess. I just, there's something about them. I love
Remember the
them.
Bombay company?
Yeah, oh yeah, I loved that store.
Everything was this
So,
big. It was so
uh-huh.
little.
But I have these beautiful ones, and as I began to make the house more transitional, I decided to take off the fancy,
The armadillo mounts and stuff.
uh-huh, and I did the acrylic bars on
Oh
there.
yeah.
But I kept the handles, so when they come
Come
back in,
back.
I'll be able to switch them out. But things like that, you can change
Oh,
little
yeah.
things, pillows.
Yeah.
Well, no, sometimes you do that
Knobs.
just because you're ready for change. I mean, I think
Mhm.
there's, excuse me, I have a cold. There's trend, and then there's just because you just want to change. Like I always get a neutral sofa
Mhm.
because I know I'm going to have probably 5 sets of pillows over the
Yep.
15
That's true.
years of it.
I agree.
It's like changing the tie on the suit. I
Mhm.
I don't want a crazy suit and a neutral tie. I do the opposite. So I think it's kind of, but some people love, and those fancy, crazy pattern sofas are coming back. But for me, I get tired of it fast.
Yeah.
I always say if you're going to do something trendy, that you just do it smaller.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, that's easier
do
to
it.
say
Go for it.
goodbye.
Yeah.
Goodbye to it.
Yeah.
Let it go. But it still is something that gives it a spark and gives it life.
And maybe go to Home Goods or to Bombay
Mhm.
Company. Don't spend a fortune on it. Yeah.
Right, and it's back to kind of the white thing and that kind of deal. But we are moving away from all of that. We're moving away from the black details. And it's not that it's wrong. It's just been so oversaturated.
Well, who would have ever thought white would become the avocado green of our generation?
Yeah.
I mean, it really is sort of funny how white has become like the harvest gold and the avocado green
Uh-huh.
that we, had growing
And
up.
it's true.
Yeah.
But what I always said, especially, and I've never really done a lot of white stuff, but it just reminded me of all the apartments I were in when I was in college.
Well, we
When you
used to
had
call
no
it-
money.
Remember,
Yeah.
we called
Right.
it apartment white.
Right.
I mean, that was because everyone's
Exactly.
white
And
was
it had
white, white.
avocado
Yeah.
shag in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we're moving to that place where there's more color. And, and I think that we're moving to this place where we're sort of, when I say layering color, or some people call it color washing, but it's kind of like in here where, you can use a color and not everything has to contrast. I mean,
Right.
the trims can be the same color, the crown can be the same color, the ceiling, and there's something about these layers of color that make it warm and nesting, and and I do believe, kind of like our kitchen is very modern, and and we end up with stuff all of it.
Because you live a life.
And,
Mhm.
well, right, but overly modern stuff doesn't work in everyone's
Yeah.
life.
Right.
No.
I mean, it just doesn't because stuff gets out of place really fast, and that kind of stuff throws me way out of balance.
And
Yeah.
I'm
You know
such
what I
a
mean?
minimalist. I just don't. I get so
Oh, me too.
overwhelmed by stuff.
Not.
Well, but it's the mail even coming in. It's just the stuff. And I've said, can we just sort through this stuff now?
Yeah.
Get rid of it. So
So when you talk about the color layering, one of the things that has been an aha moment for me is, when I learned that it could all be the same color, but it's less opaque on the walls, more opaque on the trim, and least opaque on the ceiling, depending on how you mix it.
well, and the sheen.
Yes, and the sheen. Yes.
That you could have something more flat on the walls
Mhm.
and have the same color on the trim, but change the sheen, which gives it some light reflection.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
it really makes it classy is the word I want to come up with. I'm a cream girl. I'm not so much into the white tones, but just when a room is done and all cream with the different sheens, with the different amounts of paint that they've mixed into, whether whatever part they're putting it on, I just find that so pretty.
Yeah, and I think that just because it's trim, I went to the very first firm I worked for, Max Lee and Associate, who was a traditionalist, and the guy that worked in English interiors, and he was very good at what he did. But I was always messing with his head. I'd be like, well, let's just paint that door a different color. Well, that was a major no-no. You just don't do that. Well, I don't care. I mean, I'm a young guy. I mean, let's
Yeah.
just, so, but I am really funny about how I don't paint out, like I'll paint the baseboard out to match the wall. I sometimes don't want to see that line zipping around the room. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
Especially in
And-
Oklahoma, where that line can go.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it can get
Even
really
in really
wavy,
nice construction. Yeah.
And I mean,
Mhm.
and then, because then you have the floor this, and then you have the trim this, and you have the wall this. There's just too many things going on.
Right.
So you just simplify some of those details and put the emphasis, like residence I did over off of Peoria, beautiful traditional doors and trims and stuff. We painted out a lot of the other trim, but we kept the door stain and the doors
Mhm.
stained.
Whether it be
I
a
still
then
love
feature.
dark wood too. Yeah. Yeah.
There's
But like when you get into some of the really, when there was that heavy detailed crown, kind of that
Mhm.
period we were talking about earlier,
Yes.
when you paint it all out the same color, it really does make it sort of soften and go away, but
Mhm.
yet it gives it a little bit of, it just gives it a little bit of depth or texture, so it kind of uses it, but it kind of softens it.
Well,
I think it's a
I
good
think
solution.
too, Jack. I think when that happens that way, I think that you have to consider um, the other finishes, the adjacent things, because I think what happens so much when you've got really dark stuff, then people start getting too dark, and it just gets heavy. You know what I mean? And
Dark
so,
furniture, dark floors.
See, and I was thinking of
dark,
the movie
dark,
Out of
dark, yeah.
Africa. That was my first aha of I love design, because her house in that movie.
oh yeah, I
With
agree.
All
I
the
agree.
South African white
Mhm.
walls, the white stucco walls with the dark walnut wood.
Yes.
And it just, I remember just thinking, because I grew up in an Asian house. My parents had all, Chinese and
I want to
Japanese
see that
stuff.
house.
It's really
Mhm.
cool. My mom would love to show it to you. But I just love that. I love that look, that South African English. I mean, it was just, but it was the white and the dark, and I love that and I've still to this day, that's my favorite contrast. I love that look.
That's
So
awesome.
pretty. Yeah.
Well, when you think about design, and this is going to be for the general public out there, what are some of your best design advice, colors, furniture? Also, what trends do you really love right now?
Boy,
He's
that's
not a
big-
trend guy.
Well, it's not, but I can appreciate that. We all get turned on by that. We all
Yeah.
get, or I get caught up in that stuff.
Mhm.
So that's when I said a little bit ago, not to make big investments in big stuff. Like
Mhm.
you're not going to do some huge pattern sectional.
Right.
It might just be a chair, or it's an accent pillow, or
Mhm.
things like that. I still, back to trend. I just think it gets really sterile when everything looks sort of monotonous. I mean, that kind of, I call it the kind of the United Freight Sales look.
Mhm.
When everything, like when people used to do bedrooms all the same, like
Right.
all the pieces match. And so I just like people to have a collection, like we talked a little bit
Yeah,
ago
we call that
about.
furniture store, when it looks like you went to the furniture store and bought
So
every piece
I'll
from
take this
it.
room,
Yeah.
and
Which is what
that
everybody did
room.
back then. Yeah.
Mhm.
Or
And right, because, or like
you bought
wall to wall
set.
carpet. Well,
Mhm.
because they sold more stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
And most people just didn't know how else to put it together. They knew that was the set, and they could put all that in the room. Yeah.
Mhm.
and that still is weird when people are like, well, we'll have this for the end tables, and we'll have this on the bed, and we'll have this piece over here. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, from back to that trend part, I just think interiors should be interesting. And so again, if it's a rummage sale or an estate sale, and you can find some interesting pieces, accent pieces, end tables, a secretary, a buffet, there's nothing more fabulous than some antique buffet
Mhm.
in a dining room that's extremely modern. That play on this, it's a play of textures and colors, and it's just that kind of style. And,
Mhm.
and you can see that when that's part of the problem with modern. And I mean, modern, when you can't see anything anymore. After a while, it just all kind of looks the same,
Mhm.
in that. And so it's better when it has a personality to it.
Mhm.
And
I
it's
just-
nothing to be afraid of. It's
Yeah.
just, people are so concerned about proportions and details. And I'm really big about letting things float from walls. And
Mhm.
I also believe in allowing walls to just be a wall.
Amen.
You know,
Let the eye rest every now and then.
Okay, yeah. I
Uh-huh.
clearly do not have enough walls. It just walls. I just have to put something there.
And that's okay. You like it. But in general, in design, it's important to have some rest to the eye. It's funny. I went to an estate sale just over here a couple of days ago, and it was an old client. I mean, like she was a client when I was at Charles's, so it was 35, 40 years ago, and I remember selling a lot of the stuff whenever I was going through it. But it was so interesting. It's like there was an antique match striker that I loved that she had, and I remember that being in the shop, and there was Majolica, which I love Majolica. You know, like a little bit of that green Majolica in a real contemporary, like just as an act, like it's fun to use those in unexpected ways.
Well, I mean,
even a little Staffordshire somewhere. I mean, just thrown into even a more contemporary look is interesting.
Well, and it's, you know, again, like a modern
to become
piece.
A collection of it.
Yeah, it's. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good.
You know, I've got these fabulous French candelabras, and they're malachite and gold, and they're big arms, big, so they're massive on the table. They come out periodically. You know, they come out and play just periodically with what the table setting is.
I love that.
You know, but it's that kind of thing where
art pieces.
What's that?
They're art pieces. Almost.
Yeah, it's that. It's just, it doesn't have to all be, because the thing that's challenging me, well, it doesn't all have to be those odd shapes. Like now you see in contemporary stuff, like it's a funny squiggle in a round ball. And you know, I'm like, what are these? I mean, you know, I've been doing this for so long and going through college that I went through a very heavy deconstruction look, you know, rough materials, rough walls, exposed steel, exposed lighting fixtures. I'm like, really? We're doing that again?
It's almost like academia always comes around, right? Like,
right? You know what I mean?
Very academic and but like, you know, even I was the other day, there was an estate sale and they had an antique Chinese calligraphy brush that was like a long with, and I didn't need it, but I was thinking, oh my God, to have like a really simple coffee table, great book, and just that. I mean, like that's the kind of stuff that nobody has. They didn't go get it at Home Goods. They didn't get, like, it's something so, and then that's the kind of stuff I want people to say, what is that? Like, so, I feel like I've accomplished my design objective. If people walk in my house and go, what is that? Or what is, like, whether they like it or not, they're interested in it and they want to know about it.
Yeah,
I think conversation.
Yeah, I think there's keywords. Like I have a keyword in my family knows if I say, oh, really? You know, they know that it's just toast. You know?
Same thing when a woman says, oh, I'm fine. It's fine. Run.
See? Exactly. Did I answer your question on that design stuff and trends?
Yes, I think so.
You know? So I do think like black things are like black light fixtures are so much. I think black, I'd say handles and faucets, just a lot of that is just gone now. I think warm brasses are still always current, not overly shiny stuff. You know, I still think I'm a chrome guy. I like them on.
We're going back to chrome. It's coming back hard now.
Well, you know,
everything rotates. I mean,
it worked on cars.
They make money off of selling new.
Exactly.
You know, but it worked on cars. What I always say about it that I like, Jack, is that it reflects other colors. Right. So it does pull in the color of the room and sometimes goes away. And I do think there's good basic things. I mean, like, I do think like white counters in a bathroom and white porcelain sinks and a beautiful set of fixtures and, you know, faucets and beautiful color on the walls or any of that stuff. So I think there's some of that stuff that will always stay that are sound, you know, but people should not be afraid of color.
Okay. So see, you're talking my language.
My favorite house is one that somebody loves. Like I love going to somebody's house that they love their house, whether I like anything about it or not. If they love it, I mean, it can be doilies on the wall and quilts over the back of it. But if that's what they love and they've done it, to me, that's so authentic and it's so them that I love that about it. Well, that makes sense. Like, I think that's what I think you have a lot of that same, like, you want to meet the needs of the people so that it's like the trend. Yeah, there's some things to kind of follow, but the reality is, what is it you're going to really love?
Well, exactly. And, you know, it's good design lasts forever. It really does. It really does. And
scale, size, proportion, balance.
It's just one of those things where I used to do it. I don't do it as much because of the magazine, but I was a big Architectural Digest magazine. I had every one since 1974 when I started college. That was the magazine, every one of them. And then finally I was like, these this has got to stop.
You now become a hoarder? Yeah.
A little bit. But I like being able to go through and see what my eye saw as like timeless.
Yeah.
And there's a residence. I mean, every residence, when I pull out this one residence, it's up behind Southern Hills and it's got fabulous views of downtown. And, you can walk up to the big glass doors and, it's a big porte-cochere and you can walk up to the doors and I can walk up there and honestly go, wow, this is really beautiful. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did that. No, and it wasn't that reason. And I did that probably back in
It held up.
88, 89, somewhere
Held
there.
up,
But it's just the pieces and we have a huge Oriental rug that's like 62 feet long in there. And, it's this fabulous piece in that room with very modern chairs and modern art.
I love that.
It's just a play on everything.
Yeah, I think it's even whenever I go into some of the houses that Charles did years ago, and they still look so beautiful. I mean, they really are beautiful.
And they're classic.
They may be more cluttered than I like. They may be, but it's kind of like you go to the Ralph Lauren store and it's that same kind of thing. It's classic. It's
I agree.
Beautiful.
I agree.
I think the people that have done versions of it that weren't so great or were like, but when it was done by somebody who had that eye to put all those stories together and do it the right way, it just is classic.
Well, and what I always say is there's so many pieces of design. I mean, and people will do that, like especially when Charles was around. I would say this: why does everyone want the same piece of pie?
That is true.
There's so many different pies. I love.
And you could have cake, or you could have cobbler, or you could have,
Oh my gosh!
Exactly.
And they would get. It was so competitive because they would want well, why did she get that? She got that chest. I would have liked to have that chest, and it was political. Like a $16,000 chest of drawers that was in someone's entry, and the other was I would have bought that if I had known that. It was really, so going to each other's houses became such a competitive thing about it was crazy. Yeah, it was interesting.
Well, and that's what it's one of those things where back to you just want people to have their own personality. People are concerned. I think, going to estate sales, doing things like that is honestly fascinating. I don't do it as much as I care to do. Yeah. I'm always getting fortunate that I can collect things from my clients' houses as they evolve sometimes.
My thing is I don't need anything anymore. I don't need anything. But there's an associate here who just bought a house and she's kind of in that age where she's starting out. So I've been going with her to do, and I love going and it's just so fun. But but I have to control myself. I'm like, you don't need it. If I found something I really, really wanted, of course I would do it. But it's in general, I really like my house the way it is. I'm not looking. And I think when I was younger, I would buy just because I'll find a place for it. No, I'm not so much. But it's just so fun to see it. It's also fun for me now to go back, like you said, and see the places I remember. And maybe in my mind, I remember them one way. And now 30 years later, it's different. It's different.
Yeah, I like where things can evolve. Again, I'm working on this residence where, honestly, their living area is fabulous. And the wife loves this space. And the husband has wanted a library. So we're reconfiguring this space. And the reason, and I have to be careful because I can't talk about people, but how he sold his wife on it was that we could take the end of the room over here and make it another walk-in pantry for you. So and this we did
dual purpose.
Yeah. And it's got, when I say beams, are very shallow details and the finish work and all the stuff all the finish work matched the limestone fireplace and stuff. And that, I think maybe it's hard for me that way. It's really I have to, I have to change this. And I did say to them, there's this fabulous French chair. It's a Nancy Corzine piece. And I was like, so, I'll trade out part of my fees for this chair.
That's so funny.
And honestly, great. I came home and told Larry about it. And he was like, well, what are we going to do with it? I don't know. I just liked it.
So I know you can't mention clients, but there's one house. Well, I'm going to talk about two. One, sorry.
I know you can't, but we're going to.
One is one that had been a listing of mine, and the kitchen, the
quartzite
that you put in there What color was that quartzite? Because it was just dreamy. Do you remember off the top of your head?
I can't read. She sent me a text asking me for the name,
Oh,
and I haven't used it since, but it's a quartzite, so
I've
you know
never seen it before.
it has a little bit of a grayish green to it, just
Mhm.
a little bit, very soft. What I love about quartzite is that it's soft,
Mhm.
and the way that material is done in the first place is that it literally is when they cut the slab, they put it in a big bath of acid, and
Really?
it kind of bleaches it out, and so, but it's like translucent. I mean, you can have a
So when you
kitchen
say soft, you mean soft visually or soft surface? Like, is it a
visually.
okay?
It's
still a
very
hard
soft.
surface.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's very beautiful. It's not speaking a lot. It's extremely durable. You can almost stand on the edge of the counter, depending on the light, and see through it all the way over there.
Mhm.
You can get that kind of detail on
So
it.
interesting.
So I have my son with me, and we go to this one client's house where we've just finished up the kitchen. We put in this beautiful, beautiful quartzite. Cristello is what it's called.
Ooh.
And my son was like this tall. Joshua was like this tall. And he walks in, he says, "Your counters are dirty." I was like,
Oh, wow.
but you know, to him, he could see anything on that high level.
Oh
So
my gosh.
that's honestly their favorite story about my son.
That is
You
I
know,
love that.
Yeah. So, but that kind of material is really beautiful because it just allows so many elements to play with it. It's quiet. It can be up there. I mean, there's one that's called Taj Mahal, and you see it a
Oh,
little
yeah.
bit more out there.
Mhm.
It's beautiful material, really beautiful material. It's just kind of different. You know,
Yes.
it's just different. And in their house, it's just, you know, the whole style of that house when we added the big front porch to it, you know, I mean, and that's something she liked, that kind of farmhouse feel
Mhm.
to it. But I also, you know, I think the thing that's missing in a way is we have these fabulous backyards, but we just aren't in the front. We
Right.
don't
Yeah.
really know our neighbors.
Mhm.
In my
Open the
neighborhood,
garage door. Shut the garage door.
Uh-huh.
yeah, and in our neighborhood, I felt, because we live on a hill and it's a fairly long drive down when we first moved there, I thought, if I slide, you know, we would take the cars or the truck down to the bottom if it was icy. I thought, if I slide down here, I could yell, no one would ever find me,
Yeah.
because no one ever comes out. Everybody has some yard person or something else, you know.
Mhm.
So I kind of like that front porch thing,
Mhm.
you know.
Midtown is very famous for
That
that,
neighborhood
for
too
sure.
is very
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So, but I love how you came into this house, you added on 1,000 square feet, you completely redid the kitchen, but yet you stayed so true to the house, which is so different than the second house I want to talk about, of who we can't name. But you did it very modern, and it has gorgeous glass accordion doors that open, you know, just a wall of windows all along the back. Two completely, both in Midtown, but two completely different looks.
See, but that's the best part about design is, I guess, it play with so many different things.
Uh-huh.
And I don't mean to say play, but I just get
You
to
enjoy your job.
I just get to create things,
Mhm.
you know, and that's kind of how that is now the house with all the glass. It's, again, I get this wrong. I can't remember if it's 35 or 38 feet of all glass that opens one way, but it's an entertainment house.
Yes.
It's used for that.
How
The
do you
whole
keep the
house
mosquitoes
moves.
out?
Huh?
How do you keep mosquitoes out?
What's that?
Mosquitoes out. How do you keep mosquitoes
Well, you got to
out?
also know that there's a covered patio in the back, and then there's big screens that can go down.
Okay.
You know, and when you live in that part of town, they don't have critters.
Yeah. They paid to keep
Well, I
them
would think
away.
how
No.
nice that would be, but then I'm like, I'm the
No, but
best.
listen, when I worked on this project in Newport, it was kind of that way because everything is so open in Newport.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they were
Hawaii,
like,
yeah.
we don't have bugs. Oh.
Okay.
Who was that? I'm not
Uh-huh.
making it up. I was like, okay, maybe not. I mean, maybe it's by the ocean. I don't know.
Smell you.
You know, but in that particular case, that the modern house is very precise. It's very
Mhm.
math based. It's a lot of, I don't want to say like scary, but a lot of formula stuff. Things aligning and windows and trims and quirks on the
Cantilevers
ceiling
and,
and
yeah. Cantilevers and
yeah, it's one of those things like if you do, and I say this respectfully, you do country French or any kind of thing like that, where moldings and trim, someone screws it up, I can just throw a molding on it.
Yeah, you got room for error. Yeah,
you can't do that.
You can't do that on that house.
Yeah.
And you know what's fascinating about that house is, again, is it just evolves for events. The table is 17 feet long. It breaks apart in 3 sections, so it moves in all different places. You know, and the way it's built. And the thing that's amazing,
modern is so much more difficult to do. I do, because it's like, how do you create any kind of warmth or interest, or I mean, how do you make it not look commercial, or make it look a little commercial or industrial but still warm? It's very difficult to get it right.
We did, what's interesting,
but when you do, it's so amazing.
We just redid part of it again in that main room.
Oh wow!
It was just time in a way. And when we did it the first time, because there's 14 dining chairs at the table, that I did them with a leather, and then I did a hairy hide that had a laser grid cut into it, and all the chairs were the same. And I thought, this is the perfect solution for where it'll be perfect, what have you. Well, if women were wearing something sleeveless, it would itch them back there.
Oh,
truly it would.
And like wearing wool, you know.
I know, I never thought about it. And then people from moving the chairs, it showed an edge where the seams were there. So anyway, where I'm going with that is,
it was like a hide,
it was a hairy hide. It was
I
an
had
Edelman
shoes like
hide.
that, and I thought were so cool. And then after about 3 wears, they would wear off in the areas like you're talking about. And you're like, these look terrible already.
Yeah, and these were blue. We had it dyed to match the Edelman leather, and this time
was gorgeous.
It was, but now we did it in a big knoll fabric, and it was a big. And it's just the backs of the chairs, and they have a handle back here. They're kind of cool, and it's a big pattern, and every chair is different.
Oh, that's cool.
You know.
Wow.
And years ago, I did that on a Hmmm fabric, and it was a commercial fabric, and I did the dining room chairs, and there was an upholsterer, I think even you guys that you would have used, was Calvin Betke.
I love Calvin.
Yeah, and Calvin passed away, and he was phenomenal that way. And this I'm not making this up, Cindy. The repeat was 21 feet wide, so it was huge.
Wow,
huge, because it was art that way. So Calvin called me up one day, and I mean, as we're doing the dining chairs, he said,
so laid back.
And he said, I can't match this. Well, that just freaked me out, because it was going to look. How was it going to look? Well, it all came out all different. And it just made for a more interesting space.
That's so cool.
So that was kind of cool about these chairs, was that they were different. And so
I love the idea of them all being different.
Well, and kind of back to that, when we're talking about
it makes one story together, but they're all their own story. Yeah.
And it's kind of like talking about making a collection of different things that it doesn't all have to match. And they don't even have to all match stylistically, in a sense, that kind of stuff. So
I did something like that with mud cloth one time, where I had them just do the mud cloth however it came out, and it looked really cool.
I know. I'm just saying, it's sometimes we
bold
just get
patterns with different.
Yeah, we get too structured about stuff. You know what I mean? Too many has to. It has to be this way. And that's how I was about that first time. I was like, oh my God, they're going to kill me when they see,
But in a way, it would kind of be less formal too. Like, you're almost in such a sterile, formal setting, and then suddenly you do something like that, and it's like that takes on a whole different kind of casual, cool, interesting, artistic thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of, some of that kind of comes back around. You kind of forget about it, And again, the upholsterer and Greg Thayer, I'm giving his name out there. He's phenomenal. He's out of Muskogee, and Greg is phenomenal
forever. Yeah.
And
I need his number. Okay, good.
I'm serious.
Okay.
He's great.
Go-to for the
high-end stuff. And he did that on these chairs. He said, Ken, I really think if we're trying to match this too much, and I was like, okay, no problem.
His dad was Ronnie, right? Ronnie Thayer. Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah, because he was back in the long time ago.
One of the questions that I get the most from sellers and buyers is they're looking for like good neutrals for their entryway, or within their house. And we've gone from, what was the one Charles Faudree always used?
Oh,
lamb's wool.
Lamb's wool, yes.
Tulsa taupe.
Tulsa taupe, yep. So, we've gone from that to gray. I mean,
we're kind of back to Lambswool. That's the funny. They're using it again.
Because I know, cream is back in. But what are some of your go-to colors that you're like, that works almost anywhere?
Okay, I wish I could help you with that. No, and I really mean this respectfully.
Mhm.
I don't have that.
Okay.
I don't because every project is
Different.
And I'm not trying to make it
No,
complicated.
that's
No. But I appreciate
but
that.
it's what you started to say when like Lambswool is that you can lighten that up, and I have a tendency to like neutrals that have a little more green to them, just a little bit.
And the original Lambswool had almost a khaki green.
That's right.
To it.
Yeah.
Then when they changed the formulations, it's gotten a little bit more on the pink side than it used to. I think
I can't do pink.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
not
not a
pink, but it has a little bit more of that.
I love pink as the color, but I don't like beigey colors
Or
Yeah.
champagne.
I don't like that
I
at
got
all.
fuchsia all through my house because it's just that color. When I look at it, it makes me happy.
Yeah.
You know what? I've not used this, but I think it's very interesting. They have a color that is like truly kind of like, remember the old the original Burberry khaki coats?
Yeah.
Like that
Mhm.
real khaki
Mhm.
khaki. Like, we always say
Right
khaki.
here.
We say khaki,
Burberry.
but we're not really
Khaki.
talking about that real.
It's not khaki,
crisp-
it's cocky.
Yeah. And I think it's really interesting looking. I don't know if I would have. I mean, it's a statement because it's like a true kind of more that yellow khaki.
Mm-hmm.
But
think about the colors. I mean, like if you were wearing it. I always
Yeah.
try to say that with women. What are you wearing?
and what do
How
you
do you
look
put
good
your
in?
clothes together?
Mm-hmm.
Look in your
I used to tell
closet.
people, what do you look good in? Because you're going to look good in your house if you look
Yeah.
good in your clothes. Truly.
And
Yeah.
Like if you're someone,
I love
my
pink,
mother
yeah,
looks
and
great
red.
in bright colors.
You
I mean,
look good in red.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because you're going to be sitting in a chair being photographed. You should be in the.
But I mean,
Mhm.
that kind of neutral goes with anything. I mean, and I
Amen.
say that Mother Nature stuff, if you really pay attention to
Mhm.
Mother Nature, the colors of the planet outside, what's surrounding your property, so many colors work with each other. It's
Mhm.
all the values and the intensity. And I'm real, and I speak this way, this is not arrogance. I'm really, in fact, I feel like at times I can make things so homogenous in a way that it's like a yawn. I mean, it can all look different, but I'm like, I got to get past this.
Yeah.
See, that's my
Yeah.
favorite. My favorite look in the world is Baja, and that's that all kind of monochromatic to nature. Like it's like the windows and the walls go into one because it's like you're looking at the landscape, which goes into the wall, which is sort of like you're talking about.
Mhm.
But you do have to pump it up.
Yeah.
I mean, you do. You have to pump it up because it's like it looks good in a magazine when it's all very, monochromatic, but in reality, you need a little pump, like little bit.
Yeah, and I think it just goes back to that you're just creating an environment that is reflecting you and your surroundings.
Mhm.
What's around
Respecting where
you.
it
Yeah,
sits.
what's around you
Yeah.
that way. So,
Absolutely.
the house with all the glass, what was interesting about that particular house where I'm going with is we went through 3 landscape architects, and two of them, the very first one is a great guy, but he just was different technology wise, and we
Sure.
were trying to interface all these documents and stuff. And the second one was really, she was young and fresh, but she was like out there. The next guy understood everything and wasn't trying to just put his stamp on it.
Right.
So the house has some detail to the front, but when you go to the back, there's like nothing back there, just trees.
Mhm.
And I always say that it's like if you look at a French chateau or something like that, they don't landscape up against the house. It's all out there where you can look at it.
Mhm.
So again, I just think how you bring that back through the colors, the elements, and those beautiful neutrals. So I am a neutral guy. I will do that, but I just don't have any one specific thing.
Mhm.
Every project starts off differently for me. I mean, if we're talking about it, if we're talking kitchens and we start off there somehow, that's always an important element. The
Mhm.
first thing this is my trick. Are you ready? This is what I
Ready.
do.
Oh, yeah.
So everyone's ready for this. Is I have the husband and the wife go pick out the appliances and bring me back all the specification sheets because I can see where the budget is, because no one wants to talk budget.
Oh, interesting.
Everyone is
So they dictate it by telling you through
by
that
what they're
action.
interested in appliance wise.
That's
Oh, you're
great.
looking
That's a
at
great
this
idea.
Sub-Zero, you're looking at a wolf, or the sliding guy. I'm okay with any of that.
Right.
But, people have the hardest time talking finances that way.
Mhm. Well, kitchen is one of the most expensive things you can redo.
It's all so expensive anymore.
Yeah,
It's
true.
all expensive.
What's that?
It's all so expensive anymore. You were talking about what the colors that are the working and neutrals.
Mhm.
I would say the one thing too, like the reason why lamb's wool worked so well is because it works so well in so
Mhm.
many environments. Like it just lent itself
With
to
reds and blacks
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
Yeah, it
blues
just went
and-
with and different light because the problem you run into, like white is hard. White is
Well,
very
there's
hard.
like 50,000 whites.
But the reason why is because the light,
Lord.
but also the light changes the
Yes.
white. So it may look great in one house, and then you go one door down, and they have a different light hitting it differently, and it looks completely different. I mean, so but like
Fluorescence
lamb's wool
versus
just always had enough
daylight versus
enough earth in it. I think
Mhm.
that's really what had enough earth in it that it would kind of adapt to whatever you put it with. So that's why you get those colors that are. It's not because they look good; it's because they work in so many different lights and so many environments.
Well, and in this day and age of technology, with LED lighting sources, that's even been a new curve for me that way,
Mhm.
because that really can mess up the
Oh,
whole
and then
color
people don't
palette.
put their light bulbs in until the end, and then you go,
Oh,
"What?
wow.
We're
Thank
doing
you.
blue light? No, this doesn't
Yes.
work." Yeah,
Yeah.
I just had a house. In fact, Jack, I brought you over
that's
to
a
look
great
at
point, though, Kim, because I hadn't
Yeah.
really thought about that. All of those years ago, we used that, and that maybe the paint hasn't changed. Maybe it's we've gone to that different Kelvin than we used to do. So now
Mhm.
it looks so different because I
Mhm.
see it as fleshy now, and I used to see it more earthy. So
Mhm.
that's
And I'm big about taking it everywhere.
because we were all incandescent back then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was our low voltage
Yeah.
MR16s, that kind of stuff. So the lighting source was just, you were used to it, and then all of a sudden you're in different different language like Kelvins.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and all that kind of stuff.
But when
what
they
that
first
means.
started doing that, I remember
You're like,
thinking, it
what?
looks like Motel 8. Like, we'll leave the light on. I mean, it looked like a bug. Like, and now I'm like, if I see the other, I'm like, it looks like nicotine stain. Like,
Yeah.
it's funny. Your vision does change as you
Uh-huh.
get used to things.
Years ago, our whole house now is LED, but years ago. So I don't know if I bought them at Sam's or what, but I bought these LED lights, and I swear to you, well, not quite, no, but I wasn't paying attention to color. And I put them in. Larry was traveling or something. I put them in and turned it on, and it was like a gay discotheque. It was just, they didn't vibrate, but it was just this odd blue color, to the point that I was like,
You're like in the bird cage.
I was a little bit like, is this good? You know, and is this good? Should I eat this? I mean, is this how it should look?
Because it does. It makes a huge difference.
Oh, huge difference.
Well, and then they've gotten smart, and you can adjust them. Thank God,
I like that.
because then you really can play with that. And like in my house, I have in the same room, I'll have different ones, because if it's all one, or it doesn't look so, like over my dining room, it's a more blue light, and over my paintings, it's a little bit more yellow. I mean, it drives people crazy whenever they're putting my lights in, but I'm like, no, I can't just. We got to play with it.
And I think that's really critical. I think the lighting, that layer in a house, in anything,
And being
is
able to
critical.
And I'm a lamp girl too.
Yeah.
I love lamps.
I love that because of the layer. Of it. It's
Exactly.
a layer.
It's not all up here.
Yeah,
it's
things
warm
don't-
around.
things don't-
John's
look,
voice teacher, Florence Birdwell, had this fabulous.
Who was my
Santa-
voice teacher?
Oh, that's
I love
right.
her.
She had this
Who's
wonderful
that?
Florence Birdwell from Oklahoma City. She was a famous voice teacher. Kristen Chenoweth's voice teacher, John's, Kelly O'Hara,
Cindy
Morrison, and my friend. But she had this great house. It was very Santa Fe and all this stuff. I mean, she was just the most amazing person. You know, always wore all this stuff. But she had like 1,000 lamps in her house. And one time I go, do you just get tired? Because she would go around every night and turn on every lamp at dusk. And she'd go and turn everyone off. And I said, do you ever just get tired of all that? And she goes, it's a ritual. It's my ritual. It makes me feel like I'm setting the stage for my house.
Oh, yeah, but it is.
That is really true.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
you're kind of
think-
like lighting the candles in the house.
Well,
Yeah.
and and especially if you can work with lighting sources, even LED stuff that's dimmable. I mean, that can dim, that can actually dim. But I like that, where you can set the lighting levels at certain points of the house. You know what I mean? When you bring it up for the activity, or when the house starts to rest a little bit. And I don't mean to sound so weird about people, because we do a lot of significant lighting, but it really sets, again, the feel of the house and plays up art or details on things. It's just, it shouldn't ever be overlooked.
I always tell
Yes.
people I want to be able to go from open heart surgery to Seder. Like, I want it, like, I can see everything on the countertop that I need to clean, and then bring it down and have a really nice little dinner. Yeah.
Well, and that's how it is for me. I've got to have a task light over my shoulder when I'm reading something, because it has to be brighter these days.
Oh, yeah. I resemble that remark. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just stopped reading.
Yeah.
That's why I have a friend who has her phone with the text so big. I'm like, when you're reading, it's like A, B, C. Like, get reading glasses.
My
Rest of us.
kids keep saying, I can see your texts from over here. I'm like, I bet you can. I can see them right here.
I stole these from Kristen. She goes, they're too heavy for my face. And I thought, that is the dumbest thing. And I've been wearing them, and I have this red line over my nose, but I love the way they look. So I deal with the red line.
There you go.
Well, I do think it's weird. When I was a kid, like, you could get this little color TV thing, like, was that size, and you could take it to a football game or something, and like watch it. And we're here with this, right? Anyway.
I know. Here we go again.
Well, thank you so much for
you're
coming on
welcome.
our show. This was
so
just
great.
absolutely a delight.
Oh, good. Thank you. Anytime. I
Don't
appreciate
say
it.
that.
Are you available next week?
I will be gone. I will be gone next week, but
Oh, and happy holiday. Happy holiday.
Yeah, happy holiday. But thank you. But anytime. And I'm not just saying that. I like talking about a lot of different things. I love roundtable stuff that way. That's the best part about design, is it affects our lives.
Yes.
It's part of who we
And
are.
you set your mood.
Yeah.
And the one thing too, I think that we're really trying to do with this program is, we really want to talk to Tulsa people who have been a part of the history and a part of the progression of the city that we are today. And I think that's really an important thing, that we really like. How did that happen? Why did it happen? And why did you stay? And at some point, I would think it would be fun to talk to you more about those things. Like, what was the journey that kept you here? Because I think that so many people in our industries and in the creative tend to think we need to move away to a different
But
market.
there's truth to that, because I always felt I was a fish out of water.
Yeah.
Because I always did more contemporary work. And you got to know, you could say that word contemporary, and that was just bad stuff.
If you're from Tulsa, you understand it. People were not into contemporary at all.
And so back to that piece of the pie thing, where I was back to that part where I would be like, why does everyone want the same piece of pie? And now why are these people that shouldn't be doing country French doing country French? And then the people that are doing did country French, and then they moved to doing modern. I'm like, geez.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing that was always interesting to me too, is people kind of make fun of Charles because he does that look. But then other designers who were good designers would try to do his look, and it didn't look right. There were some who did pretty close, but he had a certain thing because that was his look, his way of seeing. You have yours and how you do things. Yeah.
We used to do all the Sunoco's work and all the stuff west of the Mississippi. And it was a great commercial project. And I worked with one of the VPs from Pipeline and his wife, and worked on a residence out south. And they had already started with somebody, and they were into chickens. There were some chicken things everywhere. I'm like, okay.
Chickens and bunnies. Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Now, I had to add to the house. I did big denim drapery panels, the big bullion fringe on them, and just kind of took it on a different plane. And then I had a big pot rack made for their island that had these roosters and stuff on it. So lo and behold, we're at breakfast, back when things were in print, and we'd look at the real estate section, and there on the cover was their kitchen. And I said to Larry, God, I just hope they don't mention my name. And sure enough, you opened it up. You know what I mean? It was,
as a designer, that was always the interesting thing as a designer, because it's like, people love to tell people that who their designer was, and the people who usually love to tell them were not always the ones you wanted to be sharing that you helped them. Yeah.
For me, it was just I just stepped into the project.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was just trying to finish the project for them, and it turned out lovely. But I was just like drinking my coffee. Go, well, I hope they didn't mention my name.
You didn't want people calling you to do rooster pot racks.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
I did a lot of rooster pot racks in my day. Yeah.
See?
Yeah, a lot.
You know. Well, and stuff hanging. Never mind. We won't talk about
Yeah.
that. That's for another day. Yeah.
Well, again, thank you. This was absolutely a delight.
That's
I
great.
appreciate it very much.
Yeah, and thank you for joining us again, and we will see you next week.
See you then.